Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Fathers Without Fathers. It's been a little while, but I had an incident that I think was worth talking about. I think I've mentioned before, one of the things that I realized kind of being on this side of the parenting fence is just how important it is for fathers to be sort of handy. Or just to understand mechanical things and be good with how stuff fits together, and just a little bit of how much do-it-yourselfing is part of daily life, weekly life, monthly life, all that kind of stuff. I sort of mentioned this because I don't know if you guys have figured it out by now, but I spent most of my sort of formative years as a little bit of a computer geek, and really didn't put much stock in things like home ec or woodworking or shop or any of that stuff. When you're younger, you're full of your own identity and a little bit stupid, and things like that, and not realizing that. So each sort of subject that you learn deals with a facet of life that you will confront at some point or another. It's the whole, I'll use math as an example. I remember saying to myself, geography, I don't need geography. Never used geography ever in my life. Hated that course. And spent a lot of time traveling around the globe. In mathematics, there's geometry as well. I hated geometry. Of the subtopics in mathematics, geometry was my least favorite, and I end up working with geometry every day. So barring that, it's a life lesson just how much you need to know about things like woodworking or automotive mechanics. So to give you an idea, it was Thursday, my right wiper blade just stopped working on my 2010 Renault Megane. The left side was working fine. The right side just came to a dead stop. And the way it clicked to a stop, I knew straight away. And this was because of being hands-on over a number of years, well, pretty much since Connor's birth. I started to recognize that was probably a bolt or something that had shaken loose. Let's just put it this way. One of my biggest strategies in terms of dealing with things breaking down is to open up and just see. I guess it's sort of the dad's version of exploratory surgery. You don't really know what's going on, but you want to take the cover off and take a look, and maybe you just might see a few recognizable pieces out of place. So that's sort of my approach. Now, when the windshield wiper came off and the other side was working, I was like, okay, nothing's wrong with the motor. That's sigh of relief. And the way it just sort of juddered apart, I just thought that felt like something came loose. So I'm like, oh man, what am I going to do? And when I priced it out, well, I didn't really ask for a quote from a mechanic. I just sort of look at the parts and then just sort of thought about, what mechanics charge per hour and how long I reckon the job would take. And I thought, I'm probably looking at the worst side of 100 pounds. Well, it's about 50 quid for the part itself. And it's not just replacing one particular small piece. I'd have to get the whole wiper motor assembly. I'm like, what? Man. So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, this is not really a situation I could afford at the moment, just to chuck a couple of 100 pounds at my car just for some wiper blades. So I sort of waited till the weekend so I could take a look under the hood, and did my Google research. Fortunately, there's a lot of stuff out there that you can find on YouTube, especially auto mechanics wise, but finding your specific make and model of car, not so easy. There was nothing about the 2010 Renault Megane out there in terms of wiper blade assembly motor thing repair. So I had to look at a couple of related Renault models, not necessarily the Megane. Mine is an MK3, so I'd have to look at MK2 and things like that. And sort of had to do some detective work, assuming that sort of the wiper motor assembly won't change all that much between versions of the Renault. And sort of just, instead of looking for the specific part, just trying to understand how the motor works and how the motor drives the various arms that oh man, the name escapes me now. The linkage arm. So how the linkage arm works. So ordering the part would have been a little bit of a nightmare as well. So I just decided, okay, I'm going to pop in there and see what I can do. First of all, I want to say thank God for two things: duct tape and baling wire. I have a roll of wire that I became familiar with when I did a little bit of construction, and I put together rebar and stuff like this using these tie wires. And I have a roll of that stuff, which I originally got to deal with my character sculptures and clay maquettes in terms of the video game course. So I wanted to get cheaper wire than armature wire because, you know, wire is wire is wire. So I had this stuff kicking around. This stuff is tough, right? And so I had to look at the wiper blade assembly and how to take it apart. It's not easy. Oh my God. In a lot of ways, automotive mechanics have become incredibly elegant in terms of being able to hide exposed motors and machinery and things like that. But in a lot of ways, it's become a lot more complicated. Yeah, I had to take apart the whole front kind of assembly under the hood. There's a plastic guard that I had to remove, but it wasn't too bad. I had my tools out and everything, but I didn't really need them because they were like plastic pop and lock things. So thank God for that as well, right? So I could just pull it off. I think I just had to ratchet the bolts for the windshield wiper blade arms, took them off, had a peek underneath, and then I saw one of the clips that held the linkage arm in place, a temporary fix, had fallen off, and the part was still there, so I was lucky. So I sort of snapped it into place, and it was relatively loose. You're looking at probably about a year's worth of wear and tear. So I tightened it with a little bit of baling wire, understanding that the ball bearing, the bolt, had to rotate to allow a little bit of movement, angular movement in the wiper blade action, right? So I kept that into account. And I fixed it. No cost to me whatsoever. Thank God. So I was super happy about that. And yeah, one of those many things that we have to sort out as dads, because I can't exist without the car, taking the kids to school and various different sports clubs, right? So I did have a scary moment where I'm like, man, I gotta take the car into the shop. What am I gonna do next week? Do I have to take the bus into work? Like, what's gonna go on? So sorted it out. So I guess the bottom line, I think, is for you guys who are like me, don't really have a lot of experience in that kind of stuff, YouTube, right? But it doesn't have to be the exact video. Try to find something relatively close and sort of do a bit of detective work and work it out. And B, open it up and take a look. You never know what you could see. I popped open. I have no idea how linkage arms work or, you know, how the wiper blade motor work. Even watching the YouTube videos, I was like, that just looks like a couple of metal bars bolted together. I don't know where that goes. Is that the bottom of it or the top of it, or am I looking? I don't know. And then when I opened it up, it all kind of made sense, and I could see straight away where the linkage arm had fallen off, and it made sense, and ended up saving 100 and some odd quid. So there you go, another adventure in fatherland. Hope that helps you guys out.